Hello, Scott Hutchison here. How's it going? I'm going to be doing a demonstration today in color pencil, and I'm going to be using this reference right here. It's a photograph I took a couple years ago of a local model in the DC area. Unfortunately, the reference image was pretty soft and blurry, so I tried to sharpen it and intensify the color a little bit, as much as I could without losing some of the detail. And unfortunately, it remained fairly buttery and blurry. But I don't care. And the reason I don't care is that I'm not a hyperrealist. Now, when looking at my work in the background, if you know my work, I'm really interested in the passage of time, sort of illustrating that, and memory. And I think the medium itself can illustrate that. And so you're going to see on one hand a finished drawing, and on another hand a gestured unfinished drawing. And I'm going to try to merge those two together so that you can see, because of the choices I've made, the layering process, it'll reveal that process and allow the viewer to see the passage of time, all in one drawing. So wish me luck and come join me. Before I begin, let me show you some of the mediums that I'm going to be using. Let's begin with the erasers. Two different erasers that I like to use. The retractable eraser. This is for creating lines, and it's very rigid, so I can erase all the way back to the paper, which is nice. And it's also small enough that I can erase out details. The kneaded eraser is sticky, kind of tacky, and malleable. And this eraser erases out in kind of a blended manner. Paper Pastel, that's the color range to illustrate that I'm going to be using a lot of different pigments here. So this isn't particularly helpful, so at the end of this video I will explain or list out the different colors that I'm going to be using for this drawing. Now you can use a lot of different brands. This happens to be the brand that I prefer. I'm going to be drawing on Fabriano paper. It's a smooth paper and should be accepting of the line work that I'm going to be putting into this drawing. I could begin this with a number of different colors. I could see myself starting this with red or blue, but I thought I would sort of pull out the drawing just with gray for now. I'm not pressing so hard that it's going to matter much in the end. A lot of this blue will disappear. Or at the very least, I can make it disappear if I want. I like to map in the shadow edges so you can see my lines that are following the edge of shadow. I do that because it breaks up the planes. So for example, the front plane of this finger, the knuckle, it curves here. And the side plane here, and it happens to be a shadow edge as well. So I'm flushing out the contour first, and then I'm going to go in and shade in the mass structure of darks first. If I were going to render this primarily just with contour, with the line that's in right there right now, and I'll just refine what I already have, but not shade, I would go in and probably make this hand darker, the hand on the left darker. Because in terms of line, contour line comes forward in space and light line recedes in space. So if I want the backhand, the hand to the right, to recede, I would make sure that those contour lines are lighter. What I'm doing is shading around the finger. So where the finger is casting a shadow, I go right up to the finger edge, reinforce that edge, and then shade it out. That way the fingers bump out and look more dimensional. What I'm doing here is trying to bring an energy or kind of electrifying these hands and reinforcing kind of, I mean, what's not really real is some of these color effects, trying to push them out and make it more visually interesting. It's important that the piece is tied together as a whole, so I'm not staying in one place for too long. For me, art, at least the process of it, is always about balance. And I think by using the same color in this drawing, and if I have it in my hands, I find another place to put it in a balanced manner, that hopefully that brings a unity to the piece. I'm actually currently trying to work with the contour. Maybe you can see that. See if I can retain it, hold on to that contour. Part of it is that, but also part of it is not wanting to shade too soon before I understand what the shading will do to the overall feel of the piece, because I like the contour. I'm also trying to make the contour undulate purposely, dark to light to dark to light. I'm now going in and shading using a parallel line system. Now using the side of the pencil, and I'm doing that to unify the shadows, adding a little bit of green that I see in here. Color pencil is similar to graphite in that it takes many, many, many layers. A drawing isn't built in just 15 to 20 minutes. Of course, it depends on what you're trying to say and how detailed you're going to make your drawing. Because I would say initially, when I had just contour, that was saying one thing, and I could have perhaps stopped. And then I proceeded to go back into it and start shading, and now it needs more. The direction I choose to blend is often dictated by the topography of the object. So I'm continuing to darken it, and it's taking many, many layers. I can always darken it. It's hard to lighten color pencil. So I try my best to retain the paper and layer and layer, and over time push my darks to the point where the areas where I left the light, it starts to appear brighter and more intense. And these spaces between the fingers still have to go darker. Seems to be never ending. Because the point of this drawing, at least this part of the drawing, I want the light to pop. So one thing that I've done is I've added a lot of variation of color and value in the shadows, but I've not yet put enough variation of value in the light. So look at the photo on the right and see how this shape that is somewhat of a closed kind of island of light in my drawing is softer on the right. It's actually pretty sharp and distinct here, but as it goes back into space, it becomes less so. So that's what I'm going to do on all of those fingers. Just make sure that this is softer. It's all about the movement. And movement from cool blue to warm green, or this darker value to light. Now the background I'm putting in is random. I wanted something that was impactful, energetic, and something that contrasted with the blue, the dark blue. But also, I thought it'd be interesting if I did something really bold. I still want this to transition a little bit, so that's why I'm darkening down here. One thing I want to explain about the layering process that I'm doing is, I'm doing these parallel line systems. And the closer they are together, the darker, the further away they are from each other, the lighter they appear. Also, I will intentionally fade or transition, so pressing harder and softer. It's a feathering process. So even if I'm going quickly, it's a dark to light, dark to light, dark to light. And I do this over and over and over again. And I will even do it when I'm using the side of the pencil. It's pressing hard to soft, hard to soft. I like the glowing effect on the fists over there. But I'm going to reverse it a little bit. I'm going to do an inner glow instead. See what happens. I can always draw it back out, but I was thinking about having a little bit of light around to kind of shrink this fist down. Now, none of this is real, right? It's just this is kind of an illustration of, being an artist, modifying reality, kind of pushing it a little bit if you can. Have fun with it. I want my mark to show. So this texture for me is A-okay. Toward the end, as I started adding a little bit of crosshatch, parallel line systems. And what they are doing is helping to unify the line work that I see everywhere else, but also give a sense of movement and energy to the scene. And I am drawing them as the form moves in space. So curving around the form, but only doing it in the deepest, darkest areas. What I'm attempting to do here is add a similar repetitive effect, but in the contour line. So there you have it. My color pencil drawing of two hands. Probably one of the more challenging drawings I've done in a while, actually. I'm kind of surprised. You never know what drawing is going to give you troubles and what drawing is going to be easy. And this is one that I actually thought would be a lot easier. Part of it, I think, is because of my preconception that I was taking it easy and I was being more aggressive and liberal with I wasn't being as careful initially because of my overconfidence. So I had to rein it in and think about it overnight, actually, till I feel like I'm happy with the way it turned out, or happier. So hopefully that was useful, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.